people know what's happening and they see what's happening and it's before their eyes. And there are many instances which will be reported very shortly. There's tremendous litigation going on. And this is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election. And we can't let that happen.
Well, we're interrupting this because what the President of the United States is saying, in large part, is absolutely untrue. He began, and we're not going to allow it to keep going because it's not true. He began with there were legal votes, and if they only count the legal votes, I easily win. If they count the illegal votes, they're trying to steal the election. There is not a scintilla of evidence that this is true. None. There's only words here. No truth.
First off, and this is Alex Berenson, former New York Times reporter, he just tweeted out, according to the Wisconsin Election Commission, there were 3,684,726 registered voters as of November 1st. 450,000 more than that number voted. So that is a little bit suspicious. Here's Michigan on the left. It got an update. They updated, meaning a big bunch of votes came in, and so they updated. Every single one of those votes updated, 138,339, every single one went to Joe Biden after this update of the votes. That seems strange. We don't know the answer. It seems very strange. President Trump has retweeted this map himself with the question mark about how is this possible. Let's look at the next one because this happened elsewhere. This is that jump in Michigan when all of a sudden 130,000 votes, all of them went to Biden. Let's look at the next one. And here's next door in Wisconsin. You see that same jump. Here is Trump in the lead by a comfortable margin. You can see that red line, comfortable margin. And all of a sudden over 100,000 votes are dropped, all for Biden. It definitely raises questions. Let's look at the next one really quickly. I think we have one more. The same thing happened in Georgia. All of a sudden, a huge bump. Now, President Trump right now is maintaining a slight lead there. But the question is, where's the next big box of votes going to come from? Suspicious. We don't know.
This wasn't enough. In Antrim County, ballots were counted for Democrats that were meant for Republicans, causing a 6,000 vote swing against our candidates. The county clerk came forward and said tabulating software glitched and caused a miscalculation of the votes. Since then, we have now discovered that 47 counties use this same software in the same capacity. Antrim County had to hand count all of the ballots. And these counties that use this software need to closely examine their results for similar discrepancies.
And this glitch, so to speak, was in a number of different states, which I'll show you in a moment. So the actual Michigan glitch here from the same software helped a Democrat. Now that it's been caught, a Republican has won the race. The whole state must have their votes audited, or at least according to Robbie Starbuck there.
Yeah, so this quote-unquote glitch actually cost a Republican an election, a county commissioner. And if it hadn't been discovered, no one would have ever known. And funny how this so-called glitch is only seeming to give Republican votes to the Democratic opponent. Just worth keeping in mind.
So even with this glitch, in the narrow margins, it's actually shifting a lot, obviously. But this glitch, the same software, the election software in Michigan that switched 6,000 votes from Trump to Biden is called Dominion. It is used in 30 states. Every single major swing state, every single one. And it can switch the votes themselves.
Mr. Curtis, are there programs that can be used to secretly fix elections?
Yes.
How do you know that to be the case?
Because in October of 2000, I wrote a prototype for President Congressman Tom Feeney at the company I worked for in Oviedo, Florida, that did just that.
And when you say did just that, it would rig an election?
It would flip the vote 51-49 to whoever you wanted it to go to and whichever race you wanted to win.
And would that program that you designed be something that elections officials that might be on county boards of elections could detect?
They'd never see it.
Mr. Would you answer that question once again?
They would never see it.
So how would such a program, a secret program that fixes the election, how could it be detected?
You would have to view it either in the source code, or you'd have to have a receipt and then count the hard paper against the actual vote total. Other than that, you won't see it.
Sidney, we talked about the Dominion software. I know that there were voting irregularities. Tell me about that.
That's to put it mildly. The computer glitches could not and should not have happened at all. That is where the fraud took place, where they were flipping votes in the computer system or adding votes that did not exist. We need an audit of all of the computer systems that played any role in this fraud whatsoever.
Andy Beshear has 673,948 votes. That ties to what the ribbon from CNN says. Same thing with Matt Bevin, 662,235. 662,235. Now, let me take you through, and real quick, I'm going to run it again. You're going to see, if you're watching just this gold, you're going to see a flash update, and then this guy's face fills the page, and then I'm going to show you what you really missed. So here we go. Watch the gold. The update's coming. Boom, there it updates. And now here's this guy. Now let me show you what you missed. We're going to drag this back frame by frame. And so here we are before the update. And now I'm going to start walking you forward. Watch the gold. Here comes the update from Clarity. Boom. There it is. So now the update, Andy Beshear has 674,508 votes. And look down below, Andy Beshear had 673,948. They haven't had a chance to update the ribbon because this is in split seconds we're looking now. So Andy Beshear has just gained 560 votes. That makes sense. That's what happens as more votes come in, right? Let's look at Matt Bevin. He now has 661,675. But look down below. He did have 662,235. At the exact same second that Andy Beshear has gone up 560 votes, Matt Bevin has gone down 560 votes.
Dominion is a Canadian-founded company dating back to 2000 and began its rough reputation the following year when an investigation demonstrated that the machine's smart cards were easily manipulated to vote more than once. Furthermore, on the software end, it was reported that there was weak cryptography allowing potential vote counts to be hacked and vote totals changed. All of this and more is highlighted in the 2006 documentary titled Hacking Democracy. But here is where things get really interesting. Dominion Voting Systems is the driving force behind the Clinton Foundation's foreign voting relief organization called the DeLeon Project. Not only does that make DeLeon a partner with the Clinton Foundation, but also, as reported by the Washington Post, in 2014 alone, Dominion donated nearly $50,000 to the Clinton Foundation. Furthering the Clinton connection, listed as a former owner and founder of Dominion Voting Systems is William Kennard. Kennard is currently on the board of directors for AT&T and soon to be chairman in 2021. Looking into Kennard's past, you'll find he was appointed by the Obama administration as ambassador to the European Union from 2009 to 2014, as well as being appointed to the chair of Federal Communications from 1997 to 2001 by none other than Bill Clinton. As if Clinton connections were not enough to show who the creators of this voting system favor, in 2014, when Dominion was in search of lobbyists in D.C., they hired Nancy Pelosi's former chief of staff. This undoubtedly is the definition of a conflict of interest.
Well, Sidney, let's go back to Hammer and Scorecard. Are those the names that you just used for those programs? What's being done about it, and how broadly were they used by vote counters in various states?
I think they were very broadly used, but not by the vote counters. They were used by the forces in the Democratic operatives that had access to these programs through the government access points that they have, and used it illegally to change votes in this country. It's got to be investigated probably by the president's most trusted military intelligence officials who can get into the system and see what was done. But we do have some evidence that that is exactly what happened. And they've used it against other entities in other countries. It's just been turned recently against our own citizens here to change election results. It's absolutely appalling that that can be done. And whether it's called computer glitches or something else, somebody has actually gone into the system and changed voting results.
That's called intervention in our elections, irrespective of, I guess if they were Russia or China, we'd refer to them as meddling. But it's intervention, and it's also crooked as hell, rigging this election.
Vice President Biden using a cyber warfare tool called the Hammer that used to be a SAP program, Special Access Program, conceived by the CIA to go against terrorists, and they have got an application called Scorecard. So the two things our listeners must understand: they have a signals intelligence capability that they can get into other servers, computer servers, and the Scorecard manipulates votes. And it turns out they use this, they being President Obama and Vice President Biden, they used it in 2012 in Florida to win Florida.
The Hammer and the application that works with it, called Scorecard, is designed to change votes on the fly as they are reported by tallying locations in all precincts and counties, whatever applies to your state, as totals are reported via the internet. The data is grabbed in real time, changed, and sent on its way. And this happens in microseconds. I'm not going to go into the technical details of how that happens. Just realize that the data is changed so quickly in the favor of whatever candidate it's told to favor, that no one notices a delay and just accepts the total.
This is in split seconds we're looking now. At the exact same second that Andy Beshear has gone up 560 votes, Matt Bevin has gone down 560 votes.
And this has been going on in numerous states, to include battleground states.
And, you know, Joe Biden had it right. He said that he had the biggest voter fraud organization ever, and he didn't need people's votes now. He would need people later. They had this all planned, Maria. They had the algorithms. They had the paper ballots waiting to be inserted if and when needed. And notably, President Trump's vote in the blue states went up enormously. That's when they had to stop the vote count and go in and replace votes for Biden and take away Trump votes.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.